Imagine you've been planning the trip of a lifetime. Your passport is ready, your suitcase is packed, your flight is on time. You've dreamed about this journey for months. But before you've even boarded the plane, you're asked for documentation you weren't expecting. A medication raises questions during screening. Your destination has updated its entry requirements, or you suddenly realize you don't know where to turn if something goes wrong while you're away from home. Traveling has always been about discovery. Today, it's also about preparation. Welcome to Pathway to Wellness Navigating Our Journey. I'm Marie Corbin, your host. Project MAP is a global health learning library that helps people understand today's health challenges through real stories, trusted evidence, and practical action. Today's question: before we pack our suitcase, let's ask ourselves one important question. How can we prepare for a healthier, safer, and less stressful journey? Today's sources will come from World Health Organization, CDC Travelers Health, Transportation Security Administration, better known as the TSA, official government travel advisories and destination-specific entry information, Project Hill of Santa Barbara County Research, and as always, I encourage you to consult official sources before traveling, as health guidance and entry requirements can and do change. So, before we take the Project Map lens and use our 5 tools to look at today's question, I want to just make sure we review the question. So our topic today is preparing for today's global journey, and we want everyone to travel smart. We're going to look at just some things to look at through our lens that relates to essential health, safety, and travel tips before you leave home. So with all that in mind, we're going to go back to the question because I know I said a little bit in between. Let me go back to the question. Before we pack our suitcase. Now, this is before we pack our suitcase. Catch that, right? Before we pack our suitcase, let's ask ourselves one important question. How can we prepare for a healthier, safer, and less stressful journey? Yeah, we may have saved the money, obviously. We have prepared our research ahead of time up to the country or state or wherever we want to go, hopefully. So if we've done those things, right? Before we pack our suitcase, we still got to look at some steps, go take ourselves through a process, right? Because we don't want to be like, this is the trip of our lifetime. And we don't want to be, anyway, So through the Project Map lens, we're going to look at the observe, the understand, the connect, the evaluate, and the empower. Those are our steps. Let's look at the observe as we look at our question. Keeping our question in mind, we want to observe these things. That travel today is more dynamic than ever, and requirements can and do change. Flights can change, weather can change, and sometimes at this point always does. Health recommendations can change, and preparation matters. They can change. So that's fast. We don't have a lot to look at under the lens of observe. Now let's move on to the understand. Now, healthy travel begins before you leave home. We kind of understand that. We know that because, like I said before, we have to plan before we even, put our suitcase and all our fun stuff in there. So we want to think beyond your suitcase and ask yourself. This is understanding, making sure I'm understanding. Do I have a valid passport? Check. Have any required visa or travel authorizations? Check. Copies of my travel documents? Check. Enough medication for my trip? Check. Travel insurance? Check. Emergency contacts? Maybe not. A basic understanding of my destination's health requirements? That's another maybe not. It may not be a check yet. Many countries have specific entry requirements. Before you travel, check the official government website or embassy for your destination to confirm passport validity rules, visa requirements, and any travel authorizations that may apply. So that's quite a bit, but let's move on. So under the connect, when we look at it through the project map lens, we want to connect some things, right, before we go and just pack our suitcase. Let's think about and connect to these thoughts. Travel is about more than arriving safely. It's about respecting the people and communities that we visit. Learn a few local phrases. I know I do. Wherever I'm going, luckily I haven't had to learn any Asian words yet because I haven't done that. But you need to learn a few local phrases, and I always try to make sure I do, and you should too. Understand local customs. That's another thing I learned heavily in the Global Health Specialist training through John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. To understand the local customs and respect the local laws and its people. That is like the number one rule. If you don't do that, what's the point of going? Because you're not going to enjoy yourself. Because they're going to make sure that you don't. You have to respect people's cultures and their laws. Protect the environment. Supporting your local communities. Every traveler becomes an ambassador for their own country. Yeah, every traveler does become an ambassador for their own country. So, what's your ambassadorship going to look like? That's a great way to put it. So, evaluate. Evaluate is not the last, but that's the number 4th component of the project map lens. We always want to evaluate our question of the day or of the week. So this evaluation looks at thinking ahead. If something unexpected happens, what will we do? Would you know where the nearest hospital is? How to contact your embassy or your consulate? Who your emergency contact is? How to replace a lost passport? Would you know how to do that? Did you evaluate that before you left? Where your medications are, do you know where they are? Are they going to go with you? Can you pick them up where you're going? I mean, do you have a prescription? Do you have your doctor's letter that's current, that says what prescriptions you're taking as well, and his phone number and address? These are kind of things, especially with your medications, you should always have at the border, TSA, border immigration. Entryways. What your travel insurance covers, you need to know that, and you need to have travel insurance. It's expensive, but yet it's not expensive as it could be, but it costs extra, so it should be in your budget. And you also need health insurance too if you're going to be gone more than 90 days, I believe. What to do if you're delayed at the border crossing? Do you have a plan B? Planning ahead doesn't create fear. It just creates confidence, right? And we just want to create confidence. And that leads us into our next step in the process, which is empower. But before I do that, I want to talk to anyone out there who might be considering traveling and they're wanting to be prepared if there's immigration preparedness that is needed to be done. So if you have questions about visas and immigration status, travel authorization, or country entry requirements, don't wait until you arrive at the airport. Don't do that. Before traveling, review the official immigration and border agency website for your destination. Just review it. Contact the appropriate embassy or consulate if you have questions about entry requirements. If your personal circumstances are complex, consider consulting a qualified immigration attorney or a trusted nonprofit legal services organization before making travel plans. Pretty much just kind of do your homework. If you experience an unexpected immigration-related issue while traveling, try to remain calm and respectful. If appropriate to your circumstances, ask whether you may contact your attorney, your country's embassy or consulate, if you're traveling internationally, or a trusted emergency contact. So again, that goes back to, did you have or do you have or do you know who your emergency contact person is, and that person's number should be with you. It may be even in hard copy, I suggest, so that you have that just in case your phone doesn't work. All right, the empower. Travel confidently, travel thoughtfully, travel informed. That's what we're talking about right now. Preparation is one of the best travel companions that you'll ever pack. Now, for my practice, I wanted to just say, under that framework, throughout my years as a nurse, consultant, right, and patient caregiver, patient advocate, and now as a global health specialist, I've learned that preparation often reduces anxiety. Whether caring for patients or preparing for international travel, having a plan allows us to focus less on uncertainty and more on the journey ahead. So, our PMAP takeaway for today, as we just did our compass check from my practice point of view, I would like to say our takeaway is this. Healthy travel begins long before boarding your flight. The more prepared we are, the more confidently we can experience our world. Now, our ProMap Action Challenge for today, not for today, but for this week is, you're going to have to answer yes to at least some of these questions. But before you pack your bag, you need to be answering yes to all of these questions. So here we go. My passport is valid. Check. I have confirmed my destination visa and entry requirements. Check. I know my country's embassy or consulate information. Check. And make sure you do that for your the region you're going to be in, because just because it's in the country doesn't mean it's close by you. So you need to make sure you know the consulate that's next to you. I have travel insurance and understand my health coverage abroad. My medications are packed in their original label containers. Yep. My emergency contacts have my itinerary. Yep. And it could just be one person. It ain't got to be the whole Jetson family. It could be just the one or two people you want to have it, I know where to find health care if I need it. Yes, that should be checked. I have reviewed official travel advisories. That should always be checked. If you checked every box, then guess what? You are already traveling smarter. So let's add into our toolkit project map travel principles that we want to always take with us no matter where we go, even if it's a staycation. Our project map travel principles are travel thoughtfully, travel respectfully, travel prepared, travel informed, travel with curiosity, travel with compassion. Thank you for joining me for another chapter of Project Map 004. I will allow an accompanied travel guide that will be in our website that you can go and fetch, that will be able to help you with your field guide, as we always give you. And thank you for joining me for another chapter of Project Map. Wherever your next journey takes you, I hope you'll travel with confidence, preparation, and curiosity. Until next time, see clearly and navigate wisely. And take care and caring for you and your tribe. A bientôt.